Good afternoon.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm well.
Good,
Give
good,
thanks
good.
for every breath, you know.
Can you introduce yourself for the people that have never met you?
Yes, I'm Tamara Gabriel, otherwise known as Vander Peter Pierre. And these days I prefer to be known as Tamara Gabriel, and I'm the founder and chief executive of From Rehab to Life Foundation. But before that, I'm an ex-criminal or ex-gangster, some people would say. And also, I'm a singer-songwriter from I was a child, and I've done a bit of acting and some voiceovers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, basically.
So, in terms of this podcast here, From Rehab to Life Workshop podcast, what are you trying to achieve for the people that are viewing?
The aim of this podcast is to help people to recover from drug and alcohol addiction, violence and crime and homelessness by giving them the tools that they need, introducing them to mental health solutions, because we have to change our thinking in order to change our reality. We can't keep doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting to get a different result.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I believe it takes a person of experience to even give those tools to the
Absolutely.
people that need it, like yourself. So yeah, it's a great
Oh,
point.
yeah.
I would like to ask you a bit about your history, personal history, in terms of where you come from, growing up, if you don't mind me asking, from childhood to we'll take it in timelines. If we go for the first 10 years to the second, you know what I'm saying? We'll go up in 10 years.
Yes, decades at a time.
Yeah,
that's beautiful. I like that. Yeah, it's gonna take us all day because we've got a lot of decades to go
we got
through.
a few episodes to go. You know what I mean? So we need to cover them. But I want to know about your young days and back home and you know, your whole transition from coming from back home to here and how that was for you.
Wow, back home, it's like heaven. Every time I remember back home.
And how old are you when you just to know what age did you have back home?
Well, back home I lived there from the age of 0 to 7
Okay.
before I came here.
Okay.
And I was in heaven, paradise. Yeah, and I was the little prince on that little beautifully green island.
Where are you from?
Dominica.
Okay.
Yeah, and man, I was aware that I was privileged because there was a lot of poverty around us.
Yeah.
You know, and so my grandma, who introduced me to spirituality as soon as I could speak, taught me how to pray at the age of 2 and so on. And yes, she said to me, don't laugh at those unfortunate children who don't have no shoes on their feet or don't have much to eat or are wearing rags and so on and so forth, or they got one leg or one eye or whatever it is. Don't take the piss out of them. Show them respect, show them compassion, show them love, and that's what I did as a child. And so I was conscious of my position. I was in a privileged position.
What part of Dominica?
We lived in Lagon.
Okay.
Yeah, but I remember living also on Zikak, they're both just outside the town of Portsmouth, you know.
Okay.
We never actually lived in town. We always lived just on the edge of town, you know, and we always lived close to the beach, you know, and there's always rivers, it was, you know, running through our land and so on. So it was just beautiful, man. Parrot, I can hear the birds singing now. Yeah.
And you grew with your parents?
No, my parents left me when I was 3 years of age.
Okay.
And actually, my mother said to me, when she went into the boat, which came to take them to the big ship further out at sea from the jetty, and she said to me, I stood on that jetty and I said to her, Mama, I'm going to find you even if I have to walk across the sea. And I said, did I really say that? She said, yes. And how old was I? She said 3 years of age. So that was a very traumatic moment for me, actually, as a matter of fact, you know, to see my mother. And in fact, that it reminds me of the fact that that was my first experience of feeling abandoned, you know. Mm-hmm. But I didn't really realize it at the time.
Of course.
And that was my first experience of getting angry and, you know what I mean, and anxious and fearful. Yeah.
That's amazing. And so you grew up with your grandparents?
My grandmother, yes, yeah, God bless her, beautiful woman, you know.
Yeah.
The best in the world, my God, yeah. She is my rock, to be honest with you.
Yeah. You remember her food and everything?
Pardon?
You remember the taste of her food and everything?
Yeah, the taste of her food. She was a great herbalist, you know. In fact, she even got visions of things to cure people who were told that they were incurable.
Wow.
You should go to bed and she'd have a vision and she'd say yes, and she'd tell my great-grandfather, who was her father, who had a plantation up in the mountains, you know, she need this herb and that herb and that herb, and she would prepare that concoction for whoever it was, and lo and behold, they all recovered, every one of them.
Wow.
Yeah, she was very, very powerful.
Wow,
like
yeah,
that.
you still have that. You still living in her. With the herbs. You know?
Yeah, that's right. It's an integral part of our life, you know. Yes.
Yeah. No,
as it is written in the Bible, it says, "Behold, I give you herb yielding seeds for the healing of the nation." Right. And it's true, our healing comes from the herbs.
That's so true.
Yeah.
So true. At what point did they decide to get you from Dominica? And was it both parents that decided to? Were they together in London?
My mother and father.
Yeah.
Yes, they both left at the same time.
At the same time. So they so at what point did they decide to come and get you? And when they did decide to come and get you, how did you feel when you heard?
Well, that's another traumatic experience because as far as I was concerned, I called my grandma, "You're my mother now."
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to know about mother in England and dad in England and all that sort of thing. You're my mother and that's it.
Yeah.
And so when they called for me to come over with my siblings and my brother,
how many of you?
There's two more of us, and there's my brother and my sister Verena and brother Glenn.
Okay.
Verena's after me, and Glenn was the youngest.
Yeah.
You know, and when they called for us to join them in England, I was 7 by then.
Wow.
And I said, "No, I'm not going. I'm not going. No.
Yeah.
They said, "Well, son, don't you want to see the snow?" I says, "No, I don't want to see it." They said, "Why not?" Because I see them on Christmas cards. I said, I get these frosty Christmas cards. That's good enough for me, you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't want to go over there. I was adamant about 100% sure. See, but everybody wants to go to England. I said, "No, not me.
Yeah.
I'm not going." I was conscious of the fact that I was so happy. There's no way I could be happier anywhere else than where I was.
Where you was.
I felt contented, fulfilled, satisfied, at peace in myself, you know, and so on and so, you know, and I was conscious of that. I said, no way. Plus, I had a little girlfriend called Ereline, you know, and she happened to be my cousin. I mean, I didn't know it was wrong to fancy a cousin, because, you know, I felt strongly for her, like more than just cousins, you know. I felt I wanted to hold her and kiss her, you know what I mean, and, you know, like as though we're going to get married one day, you know. and she reciprocated that, you know, and I was 6, you know, going on 7, and you know, and she was the same sort of age, same age, Yes, but that was very traumatic for me, very, very painful.
I can imagine.
It's a nightmare.
So when they called you, what was the? So when you did decide to give in, what was that straw?
Well, the thing is, I realize at the moment that I'm powerless in this situation, no matter how much I resisted and rebelled and said no, no. When the time came to leave, there was just sadness and a depression and a dark cloud. Although it's a sun brighty tropical day and all the rest of it, I couldn't even hear the birds singing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All of a sudden, I was in a haze. You know, I was just, I was going down a dark tunnel all of a sudden. So that's my first experience of depression even.
Wow,
to be honest with you. I felt very low and going around the island saying goodbye to our various relatives all on different parts of the island before we left. It was very traumatic.
You remember the day you left?
Well, I don't know if it was a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, but I remember that day all right, getting into that boat again, like what my parents did from the jetty. We stepped down in the jetty, down those, crickety steps down into the boat. And when the boat arrived next to the ship, I said, my God, it looked like a... like a block of flats, you know what I mean? It was huge. It looked like 10 blocks of flats, you know what I'm saying? And I thought, gosh, this is massive, wow. Yeah, and going up that sort of ropey ladder kind of thing to get into the shore. But boy, this is a bit shaky here. But we all got on board, and that feeling of being uprooted, from paradise, definitely, I was just going through pain and disbelief, really.
Of course.
Yeah.
And
despair.
Did the ship take you straight here, or did you go?
Well, the ship first went, it was called the Genoa, and it went to Venezuela first. And from there, it went across the Atlantic to Italy.
Wow. So how was that journey? You get that must have been amazing.
Yes, well,
And how long did it take?
I think the whole trip in all took 17 days before we got to England. But I'll tell you, when we were crossing the Atlantic Ocean, there was quite a scary moment when everyone was called to come on deck. And the sea was rough, really rough, and it just looked angry, Oh my God, and everyone had to put their life jackets on, And I said, oh my God. When I look at the scene, it's like you're looking from the 10th floor or something, looking down on it. I said, man, what are we going to do? Jump from up into that? I said, Lord have mercy, and anyway, it was like a little life boat drill sort of thing, and I thought, thank God we didn't actually go through the drill into the sea, but that was scary. And but the ship itself, I was just amazed at the size of it. It was the size of a town or a little village or something.
Of course, because
bigger than a village actually. And it was just, and the belly of the ship was huge, where all the cargo was, and
wow,
amazing,
like an amazing journey.
And the food, I remember the food. The first time I ever ate an apple, and I thought, it's all right, but it didn't taste like tropical fruits. It didn't have the sunshine in it, and that, I don't know, and that sweetness that we get from the sunshine. It wasn't bitter, but it was...
It just wasn't that...
it was strange fruit all of a sudden. And the dinners, they didn't impress me at all, really, to be honest. After I've been used to eating green bananas and yams and dashins and fresh fish from the sea, and even the meat was something someone would slay a cow and then you go and get a fresh piece of that cow. The taste and flavor of those things is
totally different. That's so true. So now you've got to England, and it's just food's different. What about you? I remember one of your poems about the train journey.
Yes, that's right.
So that's
from Southampton we got a train to Victoria. That's the overhead train. But from Victoria, when we went into the underground, in the train, in the tube, and all that darkness, I'm looking and I can't see. I said, man, this is strange.
Yeah.
It kind of freaked me out, to be honest with you. I just couldn't wait to get back to
the light.
Yeah, to the light again, exactly.
And then where'd you go? Where was you living at? What area was you living at?
We went to Hackney.
Hackney.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Hackney, and all I remember is that there were no birds. The colors of the birds were gone. It's just gray pigeons and, all these pretty yellow, green, and red birds not to be seen.
Yeah.
And all these houses, I thought, I didn't know that they were houses, actually. I thought they were factories. I said, how comes all these factories have got curtains?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they said to me, no, they're not factories, they're houses, people's homes. I said, but they've all got chimneys. Because back home, anything with a chimney on it
was a factory.
was a factory.
Wow.
And the clothes as well, everyone wore grey or, or black or, I suppose if they were adventurous, they'd wear brown or something. Yeah. Yes, and navy blue, all the colors. They were just some really.
What year are we talking about as well? What year?
1960.
1960. Okay, yeah. See, wow. So we can think about what kind of things they were wearing at the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, the 60s.
Yeah. So that's for you. So for the next 3 years, how was it getting used to England?
Well, getting used to England. In one sense, it was okay in one sense, but in another sense, it wasn't. Well, in many ways, it wasn't.
Was mending your relationship with your parents? How was that?
Well, there you go. My parents, I found them to be loveless, really. I didn't really find the affection that I knew of from my grandma. I didn't get that sort of affection from my mother.
Yeah.
Neither from my father.
Yeah.
In fact, when I came through the door for the first time and my mother greeted me, I said, "Oh, Mama," says, "where's the maids?" Because back home we had them things. And she says, "There are no maids here, son." And I thought, well, how are we going to cope? And then suddenly the next week or within days or so, she put a dustpan and brushed my head.
You was the maid.
Yes.
She gave you the job.
That's right. I got the job, and I was willing to please, because I wanted to win the love of my parents and so on. And I was always willing to grow up and,
of course.
And make progress and stuff. But actually getting used to England, we came here when it was summer. So, for me, the racism that I experienced as a child, at school from the age of 7 was horrific. I was attacked with knives and all sorts of things. I had to fight my way out of many situations from that age.
Yeah.
And also I had to run away from many situations like that at my age.
Of course. What were they called? The Teddy Boys?
Yeah, the Teddy Boys. Yeah.
And those kind of people.
Now when I think about them, I'd say that the Teddy Cowards,
Yeah,
because,
of course,
they're all in one, there's a gang of them and there's one little 7-year-old boy.
Yeah.
And they were boys themselves, but I think most of them were older than me, actually. But, because, and these guys were out all night, looking even day and night, actually. Looking for people to pick on black people.
Yeah. Wow. The NFs and people like that as well.
Yeah.
Did you have NFs them days?
And
Teddy Boys?
I remember one day actually, I said to God, God, help me. I'm tired of this. These guys are attacking me and all this. How can I overcome this situation? How can this be resolved? And Spirit said within me, beat up the baddest boy in the school, in your group, and you'll have peace. And that's what I did. And so lo and behold, the fights at school stopped, and then also on the street where those gangs used to attack me on the streets, the gang of them. One day I saw the gang leader on his own, and again he attacked me with a knife. I just gave him a good hiding. I didn't take the knife and cut him like he most likely would have done to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I gave him a good hiding, and I had peace.
Yeah.
After that, and that sort of educated me into thinking, well, you got to be violent to survive around here. They only respect violent people.
Yeah.
If you're peaceful and all that and loving, like as though they're gonna murder you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
In all aspects, yeah. Yeah. So that you're about 10 years old now, right?
Yeah.
You're 10 years old, so you're used to England. You've kind of found your feet. You've set your grounds. How are you going from like 10 to? So when you was a teenager,
yeah.
How was life for you at teenage?
Well, as a teenager, once again, it was a traumatic experience.
Yeah.
It's just from one trauma to the next.
At least we can laugh about
it. My father said two crabs can't live in the same hole. I was I was studying actually for 7 O levels and 3 A levels. And he just said he's not going to support me at school anymore and all that, and took me off of school at on the Christmas before he took the exams the following year. And my mother opposed, but that didn't help. The headmaster opposed, but that didn't help. I had to leave school. Also, apart from that, or as I'm talking, it reminds me of the fact that I was in a band from the age of 12.
Oh.
That was my saving grace.
How did that come about?
Pardon?
How did that come about?
Well, I sang, there was a poem was in the English literature class, and there was a poem we were studying that day was The Queen of Hearts. And suddenly the teacher said, who can turn this poem into a song? And my hand shot up instantly, and no one else's hand was up. And so anyway, so we'll go on. And I just started to sing. The Queen of Hearts, she's the ace of sorrow. She's here today and gone tomorrow. Young women are plenty, but sweethearts few. If my love leaves me, what shall I do? When my love's in, I call not around. When my love goes out, I'm wearing a frown. For to meet is pleasure, and to part is sorrow. She's here today and gone tomorrow. When I used to work in the yonder mountains, where gold and silver were used for counting, I could not count for the thought of you. My eyes full of tears, I could not see. The Queen of Hearts, she's the ace of sorrow. She's here today and gone tomorrow. Young women are plenty, but sweethearts few. If my love leaves me, what shall I do? And I said, yeah. And the word went round the school van.
How do you remember that? Even now,
Next thing you know, these guys who were 16, 17, at the verge of leaving school, they said, man, we want you to come to our band. Come to our next rehearsal on Sunday. Blurton Road off Chatsworth Road, Clapton E5. And I was up there, and that's how it started.
Wow.
And, started earning money almost immediately, really. Every gig we did, it was paid. And the boys, they already had a van to put the equipment in, and one of them could drive, and drive us around. And one of the boys as well, Anthony was his name. He had a big brother who was in a band called Glenroy Oakley and the Oracles, which later on became Greyhound. They had a couple of hits like Moon River in the pop charts. And so we played supporting act for them as well sometimes. And we also ran our own gigs as well, you know, and collected the money. I had a big following, you know, it says about followers and all that, you know, and we had followers back then too, you know, and you know, from the school and all around the area, and we did very well.
No, it sounds great, man.
And we had the discipline every Sunday we rehearsed.
Wow.
Yeah. And in fact, and we played in RAF bases and army bases as well outside London. And things like that,
wow.
You know.
Wow.
Yeah, and weddings too, and all that sort of thing. You know.
And how long were you together for as a band?
Well, we were together for I think when I got to about 14 or 15, 15 anyway. The band said, "Look, listen." 14 going on 15 roundabout there, the band said, because I started when I was 12, band said, well, we're playing in bigger arenas now, and so we need to, you get a proper PA system, you know, 100-watt Marshall PA system, cost £300 at the time. I'd given my parents thousands of pounds over those few years prior. You know, you know what I mean? When you come home with £150 back in 1960 something.
That's a lot.
I mean, as a holy people were earning £10 a week and £20 a week if you were lucky. You know what I mean? If you was on a really, you have to be a chief executive to be on £50 and £100 and all that kind of money. And I gave them every penny every time, whether it was 50 or 100 or 100 or not, whatever. And so when I was confident to get my PA system.
Can you take his phone, please?
I was confident to get my PA system, and the fact of the matter is that when I asked them for the money, they asked me, what am I talking about? What money? You know, and I was devastated. Another traumatic moment of powerless. I was devastated. I trusted my parents. I gave them every penny. I asked them for a pair of Levi's for £2 and 5 shillings or 4 shillings. They refused. Anyway, so I had to go back and tell the band. So when I told the band, you know, because I used to sing through one of their systems, you know, like one of the guitarist systems, this, you know, his setup, I used to sing through that. But like, I think it was the lead guitarist. Anyway, so when I told the boys about that, they said to me, okay, don't worry, they're going to rig something up. They said they had these columns and they were going to stick some gramophone speakers in there. I said, are you sure that'll work? Yeah. And I said, well, Lindsay, he's supposed to be working in electronics, you know. He knows what he's doing. And I thought, are you sure, Lindsay? I said, it doesn't sound right to me, 100 watt. I mean, these speakers can't take that kind of, you know, there's only little gramophone speakers. Yeah. Anyway, they tried it, that was a flop, and then next thing you know, they said, well, they're not rehearsing next week, and next Sunday, and blah, blah, blah. And when I didn't believe them, I felt something funny. Yeah. So I went there next Sunday, and I could hear them rehearsing, and there's a guy singing. Well, he couldn't sing, actually, he could scream, but he couldn't sing. But I'll give him that, but he could dance, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Entertainer.
And the fact is, he had the 100 watt Marshall. Yeah. You understand? That got him the job more than anything else. Yeah. Did
you go in?
But the fans...
or did you walk away?
I just walked away. I didn't go in the hall. I didn't go in the rehearsal area. I just walked away sad.
Sad, yeah, of course.
Pissed off.
Angry at your parents at the time, must have been.
Angry with them, of course. Yeah. Angry, resentful, frustrated, you know. Yeah, it was horrendous.
So what was, and how old was you at that point?
Well, at that point, I was 14 going on 15, or I could have been 15 at the time, 14, 15.
So did it make you feel like giving up on music at the time?
No, it didn't make me feel like giving up on music. Not at all, because it's something that's in my blood. It's in me. It's very something you can't really take it out.
So do you decide, what was your next step after that?
Well, I just thought, I was looking forward to go to university, and I thought, yes, I could always, while I'm studying law, I could get involved with a band at the university, or I'd keep in touch with the music anyway. I was going to keep up with it, and because even from the age of 12, I told the boys in the Tracks, was the band I was with, TRAX. I said to them, I write songs, because I was writing poetry from early. From I was 7, say, for example, but they didn't take it seriously. They thought I was trying to take over the band, but I thought I said to them, the best thing I think is when we sing our own songs, you know, because all we're doing is cover versions, of everything, and let's do some original stuff, but they wouldn't have it. So anyway, but that, I didn't even make it to university, because my father took me off of school by force, and forced into the workplace.
Wow.
My mother got me my first job at Abel and Emery at Chancery Lane as a post office clerk with a trademark and patent agents, whereas my father wanted me to go to Ford's in Dagenham, and go to production line. That guy never wanted me to do anything better than what he did, you know.
Of course.
You normally think a dad would want his son to excel, further than where he was, but this wasn't the case, He was a terrible saboteur of my life. Any opportunities, let's just take it away from it.
Terrible.
It's hard to believe, you know. Your dad wasn't like that, was he?
Well, I didn't have him around, so I didn't have him around enough for him to have a chance.
Well, I'll drink to that.
Exactly.
Man.
And so, what age did you leave family house?
I left at, I just turned 16. Yeah, 15 and a half.
Where did you go?
Well, 15 and a half, 16. I was 16. I think I turned 16 by then. And I got a flat, like two crabs. No, my father used to say 2 crabs can't live in the same hole. And when I asked his friend, what does that mean? My dad keeps telling me that. He says, your dad doesn't want you in the house anymore. I said, really? At the time, I had a little job because I'd moved from Chancery Lane, from the post room job to an electrical engineering job. I got the sack there because when it was summer, I took 6 weeks off, and every week, they'd send your wages through the post.
Of course.
To pick it up in the morning early before my parents got there. And, so that went on for 6 weeks while I messed around in the park. Because I never really had any childhood as such. I wasn't allowed to play much and so on. To play in the park was like a freedom from prison, it was Vander come out and this and that, and our garden ran into the common. All you had to do is open the back gate and you're in the common. You didn't even have to step across a road, and it was torture. So anyway, when I left home, I left home because I realized my father didn't want me there. So with that job now, when I got the other job in Shoreditch, near Old Street, Rivington Street, with the University Electrics, trainee electrical engineer, I asked a friend who was also working there if he could find out if there's any rooms to let over his side of town, which was Peckham. He came back, he said, yes, he's found a place in Camberwell.
No.
How much? £5 a week. I thought, yeah, I'll have it. I mean, I was only on £7 a week at the time. I said, I'll have it, you know. So I decided one day when I knew when the house would be completely empty, no one in there.
Yeah.
I packed my things. I called for a minicab, and lo and behold, before I could depart, my grandma came back to the house. I said, Mommy, what are you doing here?
Your grandma from back home as well? Same one
Yeah, because she came over here with us.
Okay.
Yeah, because she's the one who brought us here.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that part. So at least she stayed with you when you came over.
Well, we used to see. Yeah, she stayed in the house for a while, and she used to kind of get involved and tell my father, leave Mama Jean alone, and all that, because he used to beat her up as well. But I got a beating every day practically, except when we had visitors. You know what I'm saying? So please come around, you know, visit us every day, please, you know, and stay from morning till night.
You want tea?
You know, I mean, yes. It's funny how, you know, the man was a Jekyll and Hyde, nice to the public, and
so it's usually the case. It's usually the case with those kind of people.
And he was afraid of the police as well. I got to find out very much afraid of them, and so on and so on. And he had a reputation of being the baddest man in Dominica and all that.
Imagine that.
That's what his friend told me. He says, do you know anything about your dad? I says, no. He says, everyone is afraid of your father. And I said, what do you mean? He says, the baddest man in Dominica.
Wow.
I said, yeah, what do you mean? He says, well, they used to get all these guys from all different parts of the island to come and do him over, you know, and he batted them all, you know what I mean? So they called him Bogart, you know, and he was the leader of the steel band, you know, and he was a flash git, you know what I mean? And, you know, and he used to tour the islands with his band and
so
come back with fancy silk shirts and nice gifts for his dad. And I thought to myself, imagine, my father and his father, Papi John Pierre, who I love dearly, had a beautiful relationship, and this is how he's treating me. I couldn't
confusing, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's how that one panned out.
So you went to live in Camberwell?
I went to live in Camberwell, and before I left, my mammy said to me, well, you can't leave this building until you tell me your address, and at least. So I gave her my address, and she said she understood. You know, she understood.
She understood, definitely.
Yeah, because she herself used to tell me, why don't you call the police on your father? But I just...
How was it living by yourself?
By myself, I was, you know, it was all right. It didn't bother me, really. I rather live by myself than live in all that disaster zone and all that, depression and, you know, and all that fear of my father and, you know, stepping on, what do you call it, on eggshells and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So now you're living by yourself. You're in South London, total other side to East London.
Yes.
And you have friends over there?
Well, I didn't have any friends over there to begin with, apart from the brother who got me the place. And the fact of the matter is, living by myself, because I had to do all these daily domestic chores, cleaning and cooking. I learned these things from the age of 7. You know, I could gut fish and season it, scale it and everything, and cook all different meats. I was cooking for my father by the time I was 9, and he was very fussy, you know, and my mother says, now you're good enough to cook for your father, and I took over that role as well, and so I had no problems managing a flat on my own. I had a flat, actually, it was a big, large, double bedroom, and there was a kitchen diner and a bathroom. Yeah, so that I had the top floor of the house, basically.
That's you must have
And
had
I
it
was,
nice.
I was getting on good there.
You have a girlfriend at that age?
And yes, I had a girlfriend by then, you know, and so that was nice, that was the best part about it, There's no way I could bring them in my house.
Exactly,
They used to get shooed away from the front door, they couldn't get to talk to me, So that was beautiful, and...
Did you get back into when did you get back into the music?
Well, I didn't get back into the music until in my 20s, actually. Yeah, I didn't get back in there. Because I just...
Beating. Yeah.
I descended into a life of crime from there, which is something I never thought would ever happen to me, really.
Okay, at the age of 16?
At the age of 16, a friend of mine called Titus, he came around one day, he asked me if he could stay because his parents threw him out. He was always in and out of approved school, and so he was hardly in school, really. But he lived across the other side of the common to us. Okay. And so, I was just... We used to move around sometimes,
Yeah.
And so I let him stay there. I says, listen, Titus, the only way you can stay here is if you do your work here.
Yeah.
Because I understand the last guys you lived with, the place were going green in the kitchen sink and that. I said, we're not having all that kind of shit around here, Titus, you know what I mean? And at the same time as well, he agreed to that, and he was could have been a bit of a bully as well, with other guys and all that, and he was very violent and stuff like that as well, and but I was a boxer I was Hackney boxing champion.
Wow.
In my school days. So really and truly, I wasn't scared of him or anything like that. Says, is anyone going to get a good hide in here? It's him, not me.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? He didn't have the discipline like me. He smoked cigarettes, that. I wasn't into all that shit. Well, I just knew, I wouldn't stand for no nonsense with him. I knew I could throw him out of there when you're ready, if he didn't pull his weight. Yeah. So anyway, we ended up with 6 weeks rent in arrears. And I said, Titus, we need to get some money. We owe 6 weeks rent. Yeah. And I said, how do you think we should go about getting this money? And he said, you're asking me? I says, well, you're the criminal, you know what I mean? We need some money quickly. Because, I could see I started getting anxious about getting evicted, and so on and so forth. And I had too much pride to ask my mum for money or my grandma for money. I know they'd have given it to me. Or even sort out my Uncle Reggie to, help me out or something. I just took it on myself. Pride, puffed myself up and say, I ain't asking them for nothing, and all them things there. I'm not asking for help, and Titus said to me, well, Vander, he says, you're the brains at school, you was the one in the top class there and doing all well and all that, and, what do you think we should do? Mm-hmm. I said, well, we ought to go where the money is and take it. You know what I mean? To simplify. That's right, and so we went up with the West End, as a matter of fact, and went, in those days, people would, after they closed the shop, they carried the money with them and so on like that, It's a good time, it's the evening time, and they accumulated all the days of takings, and we'll just rough them up a bit and take the money. Or we won't rough them up a bit if they just give it to us, all the better still, you know what I mean? I wasn't really looking to rough up anybody, to be honest with you. I wasn't inclined to just be a bully that way, really. I just needed some money to pay my rent. But as it turned out to be a very bloody affair, as a matter of fact, very violent. You know, we got, you know, a fair amount of money. I mean, back in the day, that's what people would call it, loads of money, really. And yeah, my face was all covered with blood, you know, from blood that splashed onto me and all that. And Titus was a real madman, you know. He wanted to kick the guy's head in like he was a football. And I had to stop him. I had to take him. I said, "Nah, come on, you know, we've got the money. What's the matter with you?" You know, and but I remember that feeling of blood money, of having blood money, you know. You know, and I saw my face all covered in blood. I said, "My God." You know, I mean, I've been going through the public areas with my face covered in blood like I didn't even realize, you know. And no one said nothing, you know. You know what I'm saying? But that guilty feeling or regretful feeling soon passed, counting the money, and, you know, straight away went to the tailors and had some three-ply two-tone tonic mohair suits cut to measure, and down in the West End they buy some brogues. And I remember I bought a crate of teacher's whiskey and bought an ounce of ganja, because Titus, he couldn't drink or he couldn't really smoke, you know. You have one little puff of ganja and he's gone all silly and real stupid, you know what I mean? And as for the drink, that's even worse. You just, you know what I mean, he's just out of it. So did
you do that a few times, or?
Yes, we did that. I can't say how many times, but that was repeated until we were arrested.
And did you get charged for all of them, or just the one that you?
No, I just got charged for that particular one I was involved in at the time, and in fact I was grassed up by Titus, actually.
That's always the case, isn't it?
He was the bad boy, you know, the bad boy, you know, ends up being the grass. You know what I mean? I said, what? You know, look at that, you know. I was learning real fast, you know, all the you know, on the dark side of life. Yes, and my God.
How long did that take place? So about 2 years, 3 years, or till you was about 18 or 20?
Well, you mean that kind of lifestyle?
Lifestyle with Titus.
You know, well, it only lasted for about just over a year, maybe, about that. You know, and the fact is that I wouldn't talk to him again. You know, we were remanded in custody. They wouldn't give me bail, although it was my first time in trouble. I mean, he'd been in trouble many times, so people could understand objection to bail for him. But
of course.
They objected to bail for me as well. And and the grounds that they objected to bail for me was the senior detective said, well, we visited his premises, and that young lad has got too many possessions for a young lad like that. It's too many expensive possessions, you know what I mean? And, you know, I had my own gram, you know what I mean, to play my music, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know, and the wardrobe was full of mohair suits, you know what I'm saying? And you know, plenty of good shoes, and, you know, and things like that. They just said the crate of whiskey, you know, always had their drinks there and so on. And this is, this man here has really been at it, you know. I mean, he should be locked up, you know. I mean, this young fella here. So we spent 7.5 months in remand in Ashford.
Wow.
In Ashford Remand Center. I thought we were going to a big house, you know, with a wire fence around it or something, you know, but it was just a prison. You know, 23 hours a day, banged up.
So, and you got out, how old were you when you got out?
Well, by the time I got out of there, I'd gone past 17, going on 18. Yes. And
18? What do you remember from there?
Well, 18, well, you know, to tell the truth, when I came out of that,
Did you
my
still have your
father
place?
took me home for a little while,
Okay, yeah, I was gonna
and
say.
I was there for about a week or two, and I had sex in his bed one day with a girlfriend at the time, and traces were left behind on the sheet, which I wasn't aware of. And then he came and said, "Wow, what you been doing in my bedroom and all this?" And I says, I put my hand up. I said, "Yes, I slept with her in there." And he took out the mattress and all that and burnt it in the back garden. And he says he wants me out of the house before sunset. You know, so I said, my God, where am I going to go now? Here we go again. So, but luckily enough, I found somewhere in Clapton, by Clapton Park.
Oh, nice.
as a
So you're
matter of
still in
fact.
Hackney.
Mm.
Was it a hostel at the time or just a place?
No, it's just a place to rent, and
Yeah.
it was a spooky place. It was always in darkness, and I remember one day when I returned to the house, the landlord said to me, "What were you doing in prison?" I thought, hold on, they've been in my room.
Yeah.
But my room is locked. Well,
Yeah.
obviously, they got
Got
their own keys.
Yeah.
And anyway, I said, yes, I was in prison, and now I'm out of prison, and the reason why I'm here is because my father didn't want me at home, you know, and I left it at that, basically, and I went in my room, and I saw sort of some bones around by my bed with flesh on it and all that. I said, what are these people up to? You know, and it was, you know, sort of remind me of old beer and all that
Yeah,
sort
I
of
was
thing, you
thinking,
know,
yeah,
and so forth. And I
Yeah.
says, man, I'm getting out of here real fast.
Yeah.
So actually, I didn't spend the night there. You know what I mean? I got out, and in fact, I found another place immediately,
Yeah.
just a stone throws away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it's much better,
Much better,
nicer. Yeah, nicer atmosphere in that
Nice,
house, and a
nice.
bigger room as well at that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but really and truly, I didn't have a job, so the life of crime continued.
Continued.
Yeah, although I swore I'd never return to prison again, because it
Yeah.
was, you know, thoughts of, you know, says, boy, wouldn't you rather be dead than being in this prison? You know,
Yeah.
it's like that. Oh man, missing all that raving and all the, you know, as a teenager, and you know, and
Yeah.
the girls, and you know, you know, and having fun with the boys as well, and
Yeah.
so on, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Man, I feel it was torturing me, you know.
Of course.
I just didn't know how people managed to do it.
Yeah.
And somehow I
Repeatedly.
survived.
Mhm.
Said I'd never return, but there I go. There I was, repeating the same.
Was you doing the
old
same
things.
thing, or did you do something different at that time?
No, still into the same thing, you
Same
know,
thing,
just
yeah.
robbery with violence.
Yeah,
they used to
yeah.
call it back then.
Yeah. So, and then what kind of was it? You were by yourself now. You didn't really have a partner.
Yes, I was just, that's right. I learned, well, I might as well do it by myself, you know, because, you know, I'm not going to grass myself up. You know.
As long as I do it myself, I'll be right.
Yeah, I'll be all right. Yeah, just continued along that way.
Yeah.
But eventually, I did team up with a guy. His name was Willie.
Mhm.
I met him at the youth club on Richmond Road Youth Club. It's a very famous youth club. And he started bragging about how he moves around with Morrison, who's another great robber. You know what I mean? And all that, and blah, blah, blah. And you know, and he can get cars for getaway, and he's a good driver, and all that sort of thing, and blah, blah, blah.
New
So, well, all right, I'll go. I said, okay, welcome. Okay, I'll give you a try, see how good you say you are, and let's see how good you really are. I went and did a few jobs with him, and used to go and snatch money outside the bank and stuff like that, and when people are delivering the money to the bank, make sure the money didn't get in there. What I mean? And one day we went to do wages snatch. You had to go in this factory at a certain time when the wages all out ready to be distributed around the workers. Wow. And we just went in there. I mean, it's not funny really, but you know what I mean? Friday when everyone's looking forward to their wages. I mean, me and Willie went up those stairs there, and there's the guy there with the big tray coming with all the wages. Hey, and they just took the whole lot, you know what I mean? And the guy tried to resist a bit, and Willie went to throw him down the steps. I says, nah, man. I said, you're going to kill him. I says, this is not, we're not committing murder for this. I had to cool it down and save the guy from going down the stairs and bring him back, and we left and all that. And I remember making our getaway, and anyway, we ended up, I saw Nat's house. So I thought, let's go around by Nat and cool off in there too. Everything cool. Nat refused to let us in because he could see something was going on. And it's his parents' house, what I mean, and all that. And I thought, shit. So there's a minicab around the corner. So we went to the minicab place, and while we were there waiting for the minicab to arrive, suddenly police came down on us at the minicab place. I didn't know we were there.
Yeah.
And, I found out Matt groused us up because they stopped him at the bookie because he was a gambler. And he says, no, it's not me. The people you're looking for is, in the minicab place. But, and so anyway, I tried to get away. They caught Willie very quickly, but I got away. And I hid my money in someone's garden shed, underneath all their rubbish and rubbish as well. You know what I mean?
You climbing gardens?
Yeah, man. I leapt up some walls. I didn't think I could leap that high, brother. You know what I mean? Really, serious thing. And and I hid everything and all that. And then I just thought I'd just lay low in here till everything's passed. And I could hear the cops out there saying, have you seen anybody around here, young black man, blah, 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 blah. And suddenly one neighbor said, yeah, over there. He said, there, no, over there, no, over there. Yeah, in there. And I thought, oh, shit. I said, man, there's no point me really. I just sat in the shed and just waited for them to come because they're more or less on top of me now. But, and also I was exhausted after. I mean, I didn't have it in me to really, to run anymore and all the rest of it. I said, man, this is it. So,
They caught you there.
Yeah, so I was arrested, and one of the officers started squeezing my balls in the car. You know what I mean? I says, "What, you a queer or something?" I said, "What's the matter with you? Leave my balls alone. They're my balls, not your balls, brother. Play with your own balls." And they took us to the station, and there was a stack of wages like that on the on the desk. Well, it's the proceeds weren't from mine, from Willie's portion, and and they tried to find out where the money was. Says, well, I haven't got any. He says, it's all on the desk.
Yeah.
What more do you want?
Yeah.
And he says, well, he said you got some as well, and blah, and all this and that. I say, you must be joking.
Yeah.
He says, okay, we'll show you how much we're joking. And they brought Willie into my cell, and he said, now you get down on your knees. And he got down on his knees, and they said, now you tell him what you told us. And he said, well, we went into this factory, and we were, and blah, blah, we committed this robbery, and blah, blah, blah. I thought, my gosh,